Go ahead and get started. I call this meeting to order. And if you have your cell phone with you, please mute it or turn it off. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, Brenda, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor?
Here.
Murder? Here. Eugene?
Here.
Brenda? Here. Floyd?
Here.
Steve?
Here.
Everybody's present, Mayor.
Very good, thank you very much. This is a special called council meeting to further discuss our road situation. I did speak with Commissioner Strickland earlier this week, and he had called to give me an updated appraisal for potholing on some of the roads in town. And that is one of the primary topic. Before we start the discussion on that, I think I appreciate the Commissioner, everything you've been doing for us. I do. But I do think that we have to pursue one of the items that we discussed at the last meeting when the probate judge was here about the work that the county has done previously for the town. And we're going to have to determine whether or not whose responsibility that it is to maintain the roads. And I don't think that we can really spend any money until we can determine that for sure, one way or the other. And I don't know what the steps are going to be, what our next step is to try and do and determine that. So, but I do want to, he did give us an estimate, and I do want to at least discuss it so that you know what the Commissioner has come back with. As potholing, and make sure I get this right, approximately 2 days or 2 days plus, and 2 loads of material, possibly a little more, for a range, a figure of the range from 20, I think it was 26 to 33.
That's correct.
Okay. And that was for potholing Deans Ferry and on Coppersville and possibly even Smith Mill, depending on how much material it actually took. So that's what the proposal was. So, questions, comments?
How do we pursue finding out whose responsibility it is?
That's a good question.
Does anybody have any idea? Cecil?
First of all, I think we need to make sure Cecil gets to look at this new estimate thing. Have you got a copy for him that he can look at real quick?
No, it was just a verbal
Oh,
estimate, just a range, at least 2 loads, 8 tons per load,
Correct.
and labor and application of the approximately 16 tons or more. Yes, go ahead.
Mayor, I do have a written proposal
Okay,
that they can look at if you'd like, which includes labor for 3 men and at $23.50 per hour, which is FEMA rates, and also the equipment for a short truck at $45 an hour, and that's figured for 10 hours. And also materials for 8 ton of coal mix, and approximate price on that was $817, which gives a total per day of around $18.72. And that's a 10-hour day. Now, if we went 2 days, of course that would double, But now also on that, if we could put out, more material than, 8 ton a day, then, the labor, would be adjusted on that, or the material would go into the cost of that, and bring that cost down just a little bit. But that's just an estimate, we might could put out 2 loads in a day and a half. This is just guidelines to go by.
Right.
Let me, think you might let
Brenda,
him
would
look
you,
at
make a
it.
copy?
I'll pass it this way.
I'll get Brenda to make some copies for us. I appreciate it.
Mr. Strickland,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
On this estimate here, what does that entail you doing on Cobblesville?
On Coppersville, just potholing it, just filling
That's
in the pot.
not fixing that?
No, what I told the mayor that I would do, if he elected to pothole, that I would come in and pothole based on this agreement, and then I would bring a mow trim down, and I would mow trim for county line, and, until we got things resolved to find out, who was responsible for what. That way it'd get some of the problems taken care of, and at least get the roads trimmed back, where you could get by.
One of our, one of my concerns is that if we go ahead and enter into the agreement to pothole before we determine whose responsibility it really is, that we're gonna be setting a new precedence. So,
I agree with you
that's-
there.
Yeah, that's our concern, my concern.
What I was looking at as far as this agreement on Deansbury was on the, map that you gave me.
Right.
And that's what I would be going by. Part of it would be yours and the other part would be mine. Now, all the plant and mix would not go just on your part, We'd have to, have a gentleman's agreement there that we'd separate what's ours and what's yours, and treat you fairly on that. And that's the only way to do it, unless we just came in and worked strictly, by the map and do yours, skip ours, and continue on with yours, and then come back at a later time, and done, what the county's responsible for.
It's gonna bring the cost up for both of us, though.
A little bit, yeah, but I'm willing to do that, we need to do something.
Why don't we just do it all to start with?
Well, we could. But I'm saying at a later time, I'm talking about if I come down today and I get all of the, roads done that you need inside the town limits, then I'll come back the next day and do the part, for the county. I'm not gonna divide it up and come back, a week later or a month later. We'll do it all at the same time frame.
I think you should just start at one end of the road and go to the other one.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, be the cheapest too,
Yeah.
in the long run. And they've waited long enough, I like to think.
So you're saying that if we go ahead and have the potholing done,
Anybody else
and
want
then
to go?
we find out that it's their responsibility to fix the roads, then we've lost all that because we've had work done, paid for.
That, technically, yes, that is exactly.
You've lost your foothold. May I say something, Mayor?
Certainly, no, this is a community meeting.
Okay, well, in Gary's behalf, I'd like to say this, Gary might not go along with it, but I think he did anticipate this into his budget. When he made his budget, so I mean, he's kinda betwixt and between there. But it's very evident that that is the county's responsibility. But he, in his behalf, I mean, he came in here, I don't wanna say blindsided, but he knew nothing about it. But I really think that it is. But if we go ahead and we do that, then we're saying, yeah, they did it, but now we're gonna do it. So that's gonna set the time for the precedent that we're gonna do it. But, and we've got another thing, we got cold weather coming, Cecil. And cold weather is no time to do road work. Now, I'm not the smartest knife in the drawer, sharpest one, but it's not a real good time. So, I mean, we've got a factor here. We gotta, you don't wanna be putting it down in cold. They talked about 50 degrees or something like that place. But we're kinda at a quandary here. And I don't think he saw that coming. But they have always upheld that road, and that's gonna hold up. That's gonna hold up anyway. But if we go ahead and do something, then we're saying, well, we're gonna take it over. So that's, I mean, that may be proceed to the judge. I don't know, so you know more than I do on a bad day, so.
Do you need that original copy back?
No,
Or is that for
that's
the
your
mayor?
copy. I've got another copy. Thank
But
you.
he didn't have this in his, figured in, you know, to do, so I mean, so that's, at least he's willing to work with us.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that. Yes,
A
sir.
question about this cost on this coal mix. Why can't the county use hot mix? And I'll address that with the commissioner, because I believe coal mix is cheaper. I mean, the hot mix is cheaper than coal mix. I know they got different grades of coal mix, slag mix, stone, and all this type, but you can buy hot mix cheaper than you can buy coal mix. I mean, I just, you know, I've had to put it both down. If it got 3 million on the truck, surely they can put out 8 tons before it gets cold. And what's cold, there's some holes down there deep enough to take it anyway. If you don't believe it, get hung up in one of them.
I think somebody goes out there and digs them a little bit deeper every night. I mean, it seems that way.
But, you know, if Cecil could tell you more about the cost on the mix, but, when I was checking the prices with the contractors, that first bid they give you, I called myself, and they was like $30 to $40 a ton difference in hot mix and with cold mix. So you take $40 and 8 tons, that's, what? Do what? $320. So, you know, if you know, it may not be slag seal, but you could get stone, and it's stone mix, Cecil?
Stone's what you need to patch with.
Stone is what we really need to get, because you can buy it cheaper. But you have to buy it through Dunn, and I don't think the county got anything better through Dunn this time.
That's who we get it from.
Dunn?
Yes.
Okay. But, I just, you know, like for him to know, you know, that it could be done with coal mix, and let me tell you now, unless these guys gonna pack that coal mix, it's gonna water out. Cause I put coal mix down for 23 years, the next 2 or 3 days, we had to go back and dig it out, cause cars, you know, it's kinda like in the pasture where the cows been, cow patties. Then, we had to take hand tamp to tap it down, or run over it with a truck. Because if you don't, it ain't gonna hold. And I noticed the last time it was patched, the guy with 2 prisoners, and this commissioner was not involved in it. And they ain't gonna hold him responsible. They come out there and they throwed it down, never packed it down, they didn't take a shovel and pack it down, they just went on. When a car went over it, it settled, some of it probably an inch lower in places than others. That's how come I keep harping about you to the council and the mayor, call a hot mix, because when you put that hot mix in there, and you take that shovel and you pat it 2 or 3 times, it ain't going nowhere. Cause I've had to dig out hot mix by shovels, by picks, and I know what it does. I mean, that's just my opinion, Mayor, okay?
And I think Commissioner gave us a reason last time, the reason they used coal mix instead of hot mix was the application process.
Right. I've put down hot mix and potholes, and they'll take twice as long to put it down as it will coal mix. It's a little cheaper, but if you don't use a vibrator packer or something over it, and take a lot of extra time with it, you know, cost-wise, labor-wise, it's gonna cost you more money.
It'll last longer.
Well, it may, I don't deny that, you know, it may last longer, but when you pothole, you're just, you know, basically on county roads, we pothole and we use coal mix. When, if it was a asphalt road where it could be sawed out, made look neat, you know, go back in with hot mix, we would do that, but not on a county road.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I got one I'd like to ask the commissioner direct, if y'all don't care for me addressing it. I noticed Monday, the bush hog on Caroline Road. And, And they didn't finish Caroline Road, they didn't cut all the way down to the, Jefferson Blount County line. So I flagged them down. They didn't cut out the intersection of Dean's Ferry Road. And I said to them, two men, I said to them, Commissioner, I said, why didn't y'all go down on Dean's Ferry Road? Why didn't y'all go down on Cobb Brazil Road? And the words out of both of these men's mouths, we were told to stay off of them roads. I said, yeah, there's a problem, ain't there? One of the guys said yes. I said, well, the commissioner's trying to work it out. But that's twice that bush hog's been on Caroline Road, and they y'all hadn't touched the county part of Caroline, Dean's Ferry Road, or the county part of, Cobb Brazil Road, and I know your foreman knows where the lines is, cause they've been showed. And that eats my crawl up because I was a supervisor, and my little brother was my superintendent, and somebody said, right, we were told not to, but we had to explain why, and what caused, and who did that, whatever. You know, if somebody telling them men not to go on Dean's Ferry Road, why can't you go ahead and work the county park with the bush hog and the longhorn?
We have discussed that,
Uh-huh.
and until we get things resolved here, actually, this started before I came
Right.
as a commissioner. And that policy has stayed in place, since I've been trying to work with the mayor up here. And I told the mayor, whenever we come down here, I'd like to do it all. You know, do all of Cobb's Hill, do all of Dean's Ferry. And, that's the reason we haven't done anything down here.
Y'all can't even cut the county part of Dean's Ferry or the county part of Cobb Brazil?
I could do that, yes, sir.
Well, I mean, you told me about 4 weeks ago you were gonna do that, when we talked on the phone.
To do
You
the
told me you
county's
were gonna come
part,
down with the mow, trim, and cut, and,
well, that's not the mow trim, he's bush hogging.
well,
And
what we
to
get
be
down there,
honest, I
anything
didn't know,
would
I
be a
did not know,
blessing.
I did not know he was exactly where he was bush hogging. I knew he was coming in this vicinity, I did not know that he was on,
But to
Dean's Ferry.
specifically tell them not to come down those two roads, has there been any work done on either one of those two roads since you've been in office?
No,
None at all?
none,
None of Blount County's part has been worked?
none.
No.
What? I mean, our elected officials are elected to help us. We need
Well,
some help.
I agree with you, and that's what we're trying to do.
But I mean, you guys, could have worked your part, is
Well,
what we're talking about.
It's just like I told the mayor in times past, let's see if we can come together and I'll come down and do it all. I can come down and do that, but I'd rather come down and do it all at the same time than to come down here at two different times. And it would look bad on the town if I came down, did the county's part and not do anything for them. I'm looking in their behalf also.
In other words,
If I do Dean's Ferry on the county's part and I don't do anything inside the town limits, what does that say for the town?
It looks bad on the commissioner when the sides of the roads are like they are and the bushes, and it needs to be mowed back the right of way when the bush hog's sitting right down the street. We got a bus that's coming down through there, and the bus driver says his bus is getting beaten to death.
Yes,
I understand.
and I'll say this, that's cheap right there. You
Yeah,
talking
not a lot
fuel.
of diesel fuel do
Oh,
that.
I got something to say.
Yes,
We've got something here, this is $3,744. Is this to do both roads, Dean's Ferry and County Line roads?
pothole.
As far as that material will go, yes,
I
sir.
understand.
Anywhere inside the town limits.
Oh, is that gonna bring the bush hog back down here and cut the sides of the road?
Don't have anything to do with the bottom.
What I told the mayor was, if we agreed on that right there to do the potholing inside the town limits, I would bring the mow trim down here and I would bush hog inside the town limits
I'm all for
one
it.
time.
But, let me explain this to you, Floyd. If they do this, if they do the pothole.
I know, we got the others that's gotta be handled another time.
No,
This
what
right.
I'm, listen to me.
Okay, all right.
If they do this, then that's saying that we're gonna be responsible for these roads. If we can find out if Blount County is responsible for the
We ain't,
roads,
we ain't got nothing,
will have
they ain't
to-
got nothing saying anywhere in county line. Hold on a minute, I'm not through yet.
Yes, sir.
They ain't got nothing saying in county line roads nowhere that says that Blount County is responsible for these two roads for us. Are they?
Not that I have found. no, sir.
Okay, he
but
hadn't
they've
found it.
always done them.
Well, they hadn't done nothing now. And what I'm telling you is these roads are in terrible shape right now. I don't like to go down to this lady's house when we go down to see her, because you gotta dodge every dadgum wiggle going down there and dodge coming back up
That's
it.
why I have no clue.
And I don't wanna go down there, I don't wanna go down,
Brazil.
Cobb Brazil Road, or none of these roads, cause there ain't nothing there. Now, if this will take care of these two roads right now and do this stuff, let's do it and get it fixed with and quit arguing about it and do this and get it over with, and then we'll deal with the other stuff later, cause we
Well,
can't
there's
deal
no-
with it
But
right
there's
now.
no dealing with it later.
Well, you got this,
If we
this
take-
taken care of right now.
If-
You ain't got no
We
way.
haven't voted on it.
I know, but if you do elect it, okay? All right? If you do elect it and you take care of this now, this takes care of this for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, but listen.
Now, wait a
we
minute.
have- Wait a minute, we have to drive these roads every day.
I know, but you don't have to drive it regular. Now, do you wanna drive
I do
it?
have
every
to
day.
drive it regular
Do you want,
every
do you
day.
wanna drive it with the potholes still being there?
If we can get it fixed correctly, I'll wait a little while longer.
Well, I don't see you gonna get it fixed, because he done said that there's not nothing up there that says that the county line's gonna take care of this.
See,
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Calm down.
Judge Green talked about the other night a 1995 law. And Commissioner, I know you're familiar with this law concerning municipalities and their responsibilities of roads. Anything that was annexed after 1995, there is no question about whether or not it belongs to the municipality. It does, after 1995. There is a gray area on all roads that were incorporated prior to 1995, especially those concerning through roads. And when I say a through road, that leads from one community to another, okay? So there is a gray area there that merits some discussion. I don't know how the commission handles this. You know, I would have to defer to your knowledge on this. But I understand from previous work experience that we had those responsibilities. And
I know.
quite frankly, as a team of lawyers who made millions to decide those things, we still have those responsibilities with the exception of things done after 1995. And I'm referring to Jefferson County's portion of that, okay?
Right.
Those things are not easily resolved, but they are resolvable. And 2/3 of that resolve usually comes through the cooperative efforts of council such as yourself and commissioners such as Commissioner Strickland, just being willing to sit down and talk about it. I would not set a precedence by voting to do work and pay for work if we've not established either through written policy from Blount County Commission or written policy through Town and County Line that they own solely those rights of ways and have those responsibilities, or can prove to you otherwise that they do not have rights of way or responsibilities for those
Okay. I agree.
legally.
I agree with you, okay? Now, he's telling you right now that in everything he's checked in county line with Blount County, that Blount County ain't got no responsibility to do any of this.
He'd have to show me that in writing.
Well, he might show it to you in writing,
I hope so.
but the thing he's saying is there ain't no reason for us not to have nothing done. Now, all we've done is talked about this. I've heard this going on ever since I come in here. I come in here in, when, April? November, August, whenever it was that they started. I've heard this every month that we've been in here. Her talking about the same thing, And now some more of you are sitting up here and talking about it. And you're doing the same thing that she's doing, and you're doing the same thing. You're standing up here saying, we're not right to do it. Well, if it ain't our right to do it, and it ain't his right to do it, then who the heck's gonna do it? Nobody.
That's what we've got to determine. And until we determine
You ain't.
without a doubt whose responsibility it is, then we can, I don't believe we can expend any money for road repair.
Buddy, can I ask you a question? I know you've been through these books, okay? I know that, you know that. Have you found any deeds from my daddy or from Clarence Mobile deeding the right-of-way to the town of county line?
No. No.
Okay, that should solve a problem then. Say right there, we'll just use my property, okay? You know where it's at.
Mhm.
Florida knows where it's at, Brenda. If my daddy didn't give the town a signed right-of-way, only right-of-way the town or the county has is prescriptive right-of-way. That's to make the road safe, from back to the ditch or back to the ditch or edge of the pavement or to edge of the pavement. Now, if there ain't no signed right-of-way deeds, that's gonna throw everything back on the county. And there'd be a process there to start to get people to sign deeds that's in county line that you can't sign a deed. Hello? Cause I dealt with that on Pine Mountain before I moved back home. Same thing, of course, we were working with, who was it, Bud Strickland?
Wayman Pitts,
No, before him.
Earl Haskey.
Sherbert.
Sherbert,
Oh.
Calvin
Yeah,
Sherbert,
yeah.
you know.
Let me ask you a question. How long has this discussion been going on about the right-of-way or who's responsible for what?
This has been going on now for about a year.
I mean, prior to, now, I know there was some problems with Mr. Pitts. There was a misunderstanding there of what right-of-way, because there was some surveying that went on with our engineering department.
Because he was trying so hard to get the road done. He tried so hard. And the council just would not cooperate with him.
Is it because part of those roads were in the town limits of county line?
Mr. Richard Spraglin, and I'm gonna use it very plainly, so-called engineer, and you know that's my brother, I talked to him like that too. He come down there and moved the county section line, one's east and west. He decided he wanted to move a section line up about 300 feet. Well, that threw the kink and everything. But the section line hadn't been moved. I know what he done. They come up there and they drove up stars all over back of our property, on the black people's property. The black people come down there and said, hey, we are not in the city. And Mr. Spragnum said, y'all are in the city. The black people property had never been in the city of Carolina. Sue Francis knows this, Cecil knows this, and who else has been here as long as I have? Well, Kurt been here 150 years, but and Brenda and Janice, but he moved it up, and on the map now it shows from the edge of my property up where I showed you and you, the map, and what's the Armstrong boy's name? Who?
Greg Armstrong.
No, Max Armstrong put it in the map. He come down the other day and showed it to me. I said, you wrong. He said, the section line has been moved. And if the county wants to fight it in court, we'll go tomorrow and file an injunction on the county. Because you cannot move a section line that's been there probably 300 years. Because it's got the ABC numbers, they Cecil property and my property and Sue Francis property, all comes off of this two section lines, runs east and west. And who give the county the right to move the section line?
The state section.
Huh?
The state, this is state section line
Right. So that's
State
when
supersedes county.
that's when the confusion really got heated up, Commissioner. Because Richard Sprague had come down there, because some of the council, and, some of them sat right there where them three are sitting now, wanted him to move the line. And this black property has never been in the town of Caroline. And Brenda knows it, we've been here all our life, and them people out there, they don't bother nobody, they don't want us to bother them. And, it's just a sad situation, we're sitting here talking about it, and the county's worth it, the county needs to do it again. If this road was in, let me tell you, I've rode some roads Monday and Tuesday. If these roads was in Aniana and anywhere else, they'd be fixed. I know what I'm talking about. They'd be fixed. They'd go in there and fix them, and they'd be done. We on the wrong end of the county, and this commission here is taking the slack for somebody done 50 years ago. And I feel sorry for it, because he's come down here and heard us gripe and complain and gripe. He go back to the courthouse, they have no records. Hello? I asked the other day, did they have a record? They have no records of working these Ferry Road. They have no records of nothing, you know. There's no records here, so somebody needs to do something.
Yes, sir.
There doesn't have to be records on file. It doesn't matter if Blount County has a record showing that they've worked Deans Ferry Road or Cobbers Hill or any other road, or the town of County Line having records showing these things. What does matter is if it were a challenge in court, then there would be signed affidavits by folks who are part of the community, who have lived here forever, saying that, yes, we saw the county perform this work approximately year so-and-so. You establish a 20-year window there, and that is legally binding. You know, that's something, I know the commissioners had to deal with these things, you know, in other areas. Those things are legally binding as far as there being right-of-way. The issue is not whether or not there's right-of-way. The issue is about who is going to maintain what current rights-of-way we have.
Bottom line.
The bottom line. And I understand Commissioner Strickland is not, you know, able to answer all of our questions. I do appreciate how he's addressing those. I would ask you, Commissioner, you mentioned a policy. It's been the policy, used that term, to not do anything since you've been Commissioner. Is that a written, verbal?
No, that is a poor word to use.
Okay.
You know, I knew there was a problem in County Line.
Yes, sir.
And when I came on board, when I came in office, and the mayor addressed me about doing work down here. And I am basing my assumption of where the county line is, or where the county line, the town limits are, and our lines are, based on the drawing that he gave me. Now that's my basis of what belongs inside the town limits and what belongs to the Blount County.
Okay, it would be easily resolvable on your behalf to let your tax assessor's office define those and draw your maps based on the deeds and the tax codes that are assigned to the municipality, and provide you with a map, whether it matches their map or does not match the map they gave you. And that way, that is a matter of public record and law. That's recorded that way. So those issues can be resolved as to where the line is or where the line is not, and who's responsible for what section of road. I know you have an engineering department, and I'm sure y'all have a survey crew, or,
Sure.
and that could easily be resolved. Again, that's not an issue that we need to be dealing with. You know, back to the poor choice of words of policy,
Right.
and trying to work through these things. What will it take to get through these things? I understand that, you know, Blount County has limitations such as County Line does.
Sure.
Financially, but I also know that Blount County has more opportunity for resources than the town of County Line does, number one. And the probability of income or revenue for the county is far greater than what the possibility is for this area as far as the town of County Line. Where are we, and what can we do to start this process? You know, I've not heard anything that's been put in writing as far as agreements or to do or not do work. I've not heard you say that there's a verbal agreement or anything of that nature to do or not to do work. And I've not heard of any other agreement otherwise. So what do we do to get things moving for your portion of the work to be done? And Blount County can absorb the cost of their portion,
Sure.
you know,
Mhm.
and then this town will have to be dealt with, and I'm not being disrespectful to the council, but they've inherited something, or maybe I should say nothing, in respect of finances. They will have to learn how to manage that aspect of it. You've been very kind, from what I understand, offering to let them make payments, okay?
Correct.
I've heard that, I believe I heard that mentioned.
During my term, correct.
And yes, and I think that is a wonderful gesture on your part. I think it's a very workable thing to some extent. However, I don't understand why we're not sitting here talking about what portion can be done next week and what has to be done next month, or what has to be done 6 months from now or a year from now, based on our resources and abilities, instead of arguing over who's fighting and who's owning what.
Mhm.
There's no doubt Blount County owns road, County Line owns road.
Mhm.
Where exactly those are, you can determine that from your legal documentation in Blount County. Just like they have their documentation they feel is accurate. It's not unheard of that we have discrepancies in those documents, okay? Easily resolvable through the engineering department and survey crews. A little bit of time takes care of that, not much, because there ain't much in this town to measure out, okay?
Well, they actually come out and marked it once, didn't they?
I've seen marks put on the road that are inaccurate, in my opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
But public records still stand.
Public record stands what is documented and deeded in the courthouse, as in recorded. And when we're talking about tax codes, and I know you understand what I'm talking about, what parcels of property are assigned the tax codes that places them within the municipal limits of the town of County Line. When you identify that, and that's a keystroke on a computer, then you'll know exactly where those limits are.
Okay, the way I will address that, Mayor, I took the drawing that, like I said before, that you submitted to me, and that's what I've gone off of, along with the points that are on Dean's Ferry and Cobbersville, where it was surveyed before, and that's what I have gone by. And based on that survey, it's pretty much in line with your drawing, and that's what I have based on, or based all my figures on.
Okay.
Now, whose responsibility is it to say?
Excuse me, sir. Didn't that last bunch that was in office here make some maps and put in just about what they wanted to on them maps?
The map that I gave the commissioner was not one of those maps.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, ma'am?
How do you know the drawing's correct? That you submitted?
Well, if you go back to the tax records, that will correct everything that Cecil was talking about.
That's
So
what he was
recorded,
saying.
if it's recorded, like you and I pay taxes on our property, if it's a town of County Line, it'll be on tax record. All you gotta do, go down there and pull the records. If you do that, it's gonna clear up where the town of County Line and the county is. Until somebody does that, we're gonna sit here and talk about it and yang about it.
Well, the map that I gave the commissioner followed what you're saying, where the line should be. There at the corner of your property and down at the four-way stop.
Right.
I mean, that map, that part I know is correct.
Yeah, that's the one me and you was looking at that night.
As far as I know, and I forget now what was the date on that map, but it was not a copy of that map that's on the board back there. This was one that was made prior to that. I think the last survey that was
Where the Judge
completed.
Road, where the Judge Road, that part was in County Line? That's the
Yes.
map? Okay.
Yeah, they had that, they showed that section.
Okay, that would be very tantamount that we wanted that on the map.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Getting back to the potholing and the cost,
Mhm.
Mr. Philpott, what you were talking about. First of all, I want to thank every one of your council members here for just giving the consideration to Cobbersville and Deans Ferry Road. We appreciate it because it hasn't really been blocked so many times, you know what I'm saying? The thing that we're really thinking, or I'm really thinking, is that we've been like this for a while now, right?
Yeah.
Just keep going slow for a little while. Why get in a big rush to get this fixed? And you guys spend the only money that you've got if Blount County is responsible to do it. Why spend all the revenue that you guys have coming in? We can wait a little longer. We drive it every single day. We can do this a little bit longer.
We learned how to dodge holes.
Exactly. So all we're saying is slow down a little bit. Slow down a little bit and let's find out who's responsible.
I have a hard time
Why are you
wrapping
gonna
that
throw
up.
good money after bad? Why would you go in and pothole the road and then turn around and dig it all up and fix it? Why are you just gonna throw that money away? You wouldn't do that in your household. You wouldn't cut down all your trees and go back and plant some more trees. You know, it's just, it doesn't make sense. We've been living with this for a long, long time. And I think we ought to try to slow down a little bit and maybe get it right. Why throw $3,500 away do you guys agree with me, or?
I agree with you.
Well,
We can do
let me
this
say
a little
this.
bit longer.
Let me see if I can just draw it all in together here. Yes, the condition of the road didn't happen overnight. They have been ignored for a very long time. It has not been the focus of the council. The previous council did not have the focus on maintaining the roads in the town like they should have. Instead, they spent $30,000 that could have been spent on the road repair on this mud hole over here.
Right.
I'm sorry, the park.
Here.
Well, I mean, that's like I said, y'all already
I don't
spent
like
3 or
that.
4 nights on this, and you guys don't know how much it means to us that y'all are even
Thinking about it.
considering it and thinking about helping us. I mean, we just want you guys to do it right. I mean, we don't want you throwing your money away. You wouldn't do it at home, why would you do it here? Y'all don't have
That-
much.
Well, ever since, I know that, as far as I'm concerned, when I was running for this office, I wanted to do something on Coppers Hill. Coppers Hill's always been my
And
target.
Well,
my
that has been
target.
very obvious with you guys too. You guys
Right.
wanna help with the roads.
But, you know, and
Well,
everybody
I
on this
think-
council wants to do something.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
I think that we need to prioritize what we're gonna do, and at this point, to me, it seems a little like folly to spend $3,500 when we may not have to. And so if we can figure out somehow, and that's the council's job, is to figure out somehow how to determine who's responsible.
Right.
And get that taken care of, and so we can talk about that part of it all day too, and that's not doing any good. We've got to see some action there.
Well, that's what I was trying to getting to. But yes, we want to do something to the roads. The focus needs to be on the roads. That's where it should have been for the last 10 years, but it hasn't been. But I think our next step is to determine who is responsible for the road
Agreed.
maintenance. And I need to get with Commissioner Strickland, and probably the probate judge needs to be involved with this, and whomever else that we need to draw in to make a determination or take whatever steps it is, we need to finally put it to rest, who's responsible.
Before you go any further, I want to make a motion that we draw up a committee to work on this. Not you, not anybody. I want Brother
Cecil.
Cecil to be the chairman of this
You're
committee.
on fire, buddy.
Can we talk?
I want him to be the chairman of this
In a
committee.
line of fire.
I want Brother, what's his name?
Calfee.
Huh?
Calfee.
No,
Strickland.
Strickland.
no, the one right behind him.
Yeah.
That's true.
Commissioner.
Yes, Brother Strickland, and whoever else can we name it? I know he has, Milton's had some.
Malcolm.
And Brother Strickland
He
did
can't get
good.
his names out, his words out.
The words is not coming out, but I want you to be in on it, and I want you to be in on it, okay?
So you're doing,
And,
appointing a committee?
I'm trying to this.
Proposed.
Now,
I think-
let me.
Can you be on this committee?
I
I
want
don't
this
believe so.
committee to come up with something to tell us who is looking for it. Do we need to look for it deeper here and something back here? Do we need to look at it up there, at the county line? Do we need to go down to Jefferson County and see if it's something down there that's down there? That's someplace that is down there. It could be down there, that something was set down there. And if it's down there, I want to get something up here to tell us how to solve these problems and get them resolved.
I think that's all of our intention, is to come to a resolution. But before we form any committees, I think that it may, well, we need to have a discussion, number one, with the commissioner and the probate judge, and try to determine what is our next step in determining the responsibility for the maintenance of these roads.
How many other people do we need to be in on it? I think he needs to be in on it because he worked in on these things all over the state, I mean, all over the county, Jefferson County for the.
That's not always a good thing, Floyd, trust me.
Well, it may not be, but it
you're
gives
more
us,
knowledgeable.
it gives us.
And what he did, I don't know that we could actually call work.
Yeah, that's a valid point. That's valid.
Okay, go ahead, say something.
Mayor, I certainly don't mind helping any way that the council would ask me to. Don't misinterpret what I'm about to say. But I honestly believe that the commissioner already has the resources to determine, and I'll give a brief scenario as to how, but to determine where the responsibility lies. And if Blount County has not faced this issue already and does not have a legal precedent set in this issue already, then they're fixing to learn something. Because it's a happening thing. It's happening all over the United States, not just here in this little area, okay?
Yeah.
The tighter the money gets, the more all government entities have to tighten down and take less responsibility for whatever folks want done. So this is not new, it's just expanding as to our ability to see it. Commissioner, you may or may not know, has there been any legal research done on the responsibility of these roads within any municipality, not just the town of County in Blount County? Has this question come up before, and does your legal department have a resolve they've worked through the state and federal laws? Do you know?
I cannot answer that.
Okay, and
I know
that's
there's
great.
been some
That's
issues
fair.
that's come up, in different parts of the county.
Right.
But in this district, there has not been any. But now whether or not there's anything in the engineering department, in our legal department, to address that, I cannot tell you. But I can find out.
That's the first step,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
And you're available there for those resources to ask the right people, and that would be the very first place to start. And, based on what Judge Green said the other night, and when he referenced the 1995 law, that made my heart just beat real fast, because I know that law. I've had to sit in court on that law. I understand that there are some gray areas within that law that are open for interpretation between the legal departments of the respective jurisdictions, municipal and county. However, it's been proven already that y'all are willing to work together, and I feel like y'all could resolve any of those issues that are not well defined in law. So I encourage you, instead of forming a committee, to allow the mayor and the commissioner to resolve this issue or research this issue. And I would, as a citizen, I would ask you to research it within 2 weeks and give us an opportunity to learn what you've learned.
Okay,
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay.
By the next regular council meeting, that would be October the 14th.
I certainly think that's fair.
Makes sense.
I think that would be fair to him and to the council too, because there's got to be a starting point.
Yes.
I have one more question that I'll address the commissioner with, because I don't know, I'm not picking on you, okay?
I understand.
I worked in the other world, okay, and this world is different, but I don't know how Blount County's governance is in respect of these issues. For example, we talked about County Line Road and the mowing that took place on County Line Road. County Line Road was recently rebuilt, or rehabilitated with federal money, is that?
Correct.
Okay, and it was done from the county line to State Highway 79.
Correct, that's my understanding.
Okay, and that was done through a contract and federal monies, but Blount County inspectors were responsible for overseeing part of that work, is that correct?
I would say, I cannot say 100%, but based on what I've heard, that would be correct. Blount County inspectors inspected that, but they also are reimbursed by federal money.
I understand, that's where I'm headed with this, okay? When Blount County participates in a federal program of that nature, and they receive those reimbursements for those federal funded projects, farm to market or any other federal funded programs, when those things occur, is it not the same scenario that you find in when Blount County participates and upfronts the money as municipalities can afford to pay that work back? Is that not the same fundamental principle?
I cannot answer that. See, this is the first time that I have offered to help a municipality out of my budget. And you know, I went to our legal department and asked them, you know, what ways that I could help.
Right.
And the only way they said that, because the mayor asked me about financing, and that's the only way that I could come up and help him out of my budget, was to just be able to have an agreement to do, you know, X number of dollars of work, you know, and then it'd be paid back during my budget.
During your term.
During my term, yeah.
And that's the recommendation of your legal department only during your term?
Correct.
So, whoever, and again, I don't understand the governing system of Blount County in that respect and how you manage that. Whoever's responsible for managing the entire county budget, is that Judge Green or?
No, that's our administrator,
And his name
Zach
is?
Marsh.
Okay, so he would have the authority to extend that payment period if he chose to, as an administrator. That's part of his responsibilities?
I would say no, because we passed a resolution that any district or any commissioner could not go in debt if he could not pay it back within his term. I cannot buy a piece of equipment unless the entire commission agrees with it that it go out past my term.
I understand that.
And the reason for that is things that has happened in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
I
about?
do.
Yeah.
Those folks that I worked for that did that are now in jail, and you know that. And I'm glad, by the way. Okay, I think you're on the right track in being able to get with the legal department, and you need to be able to produce something, and I don't know any other way to say it. You need to be able to produce something that says to the town of County Line, I, as Blount County Commissioner, am not responsible for your roads because, in writing, so that they'll have the opportunity to take it to their legal counsel and say, well, we don't agree with this because, and that starts a process. We'll never get a resolve to who owns what until there's some type of process defined.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna turn that around. Is it the county's responsibility to say that they're not responsible for those roads inside of county line? Or is it county line's responsibility to say that it is the county's part?
Well, I would interpret that in my personal mindset as saying that the county has said already it's not the county's responsibility for those roads within inside county line, because you're not down here doing the work. You're not down here doing anything on the county or the city's portion. So you have set a precedence in saying that it's the county's stance that we don't do any work in municipalities on their streets. You know, they didn't tell you to get out of their town.
Well, in essence, they did years ago.
Well, in essence, okay, in essence, if they did years ago.
But that has nothing to do with this council.
That's right.
You know,
In
that's
essence,
in the past.
in essence, they did years ago, and probably, if I had my guess, I would be willing to say that in essence tonight, they would tell you to come back. This council would. But, you know, you're talking about years ago and things that happened prior to your administration, and I understand that. You're working from hearsay. Again, you need to produce something in writing that gives this council the ability to challenge that or accept that.
Well, let me say this in regard to that. I agree that Cobbersville is the worst road in this district. And, you know, and I've said since day one, and I told the mayor, you know, that it was the worst road in the district and we need to do something. And I am basing what I have offered to do for County Line based on his drawing that he submitted to me. Now, I'll be glad to go back and research that, you know, but thus far, what I have been working off of is what he asked me to work off of.
I understand that.
I mean, and,
You
you know,
still have,
you're not satisfied with that, but is this council satisfied with what he presented to me?
I'll let
Then you need to ask him to.
I'll let them
present,
address that.
You know,
But that doesn't resolve you of the responsibility of still taking care of the county portions of things that belong to the county with or without County Line's permission.
I agree with
Okay,
you. I do
so
not argue that point.
We want to get to a resolve.
Yeah, I do not
Commissioner,
argue that point.
And we want to get to resolve, not just on who owns what, and it be accurate, but also why you own this or they own that. What law, cite the law, page number, Alabama book, you know, the whole 9 yards. And that way they'll know, you know, these folks are coming in here not having any knowledge or experience of this type environment. And I don't know what your previous work history was, but you may or may not have been exposed to this before. So you need to understand what gives you not only the right, but also the responsibility that goes with it. It would merit a time well spent to research that and be able to say to this town or any other town for your benefit, you know, this is why we can or cannot, because they're very defined.
Up to this point, we were in agreement where the lines were. And to my knowledge, we're still in agreement to where the lines are, and that's what we're trying to work for, is the lines that were submitted on his drawings. I don't have a problem with that. He doesn't have a problem with that. I can come inside the town limits, let me back up. I can come to County Line and do the roads that's inside Blount County that we're responsible for, based on the drawing as of right now that we're in agreement on. And the reason I have not done that, like I've said in the past, I'd like to come down here and do it all at one time. I can come do,
It makes a lot of sense.
you know, I can come do,
Economically.
but I wanted to work with the council,
Sure.
and we came down here so that we both look like we're trying to do something.
I understand that. We're missing one point in all of this. We've talked about you want to work with this council and this council wants to work with you and do all the work at one time, which is certainly economically more feasible. No doubt in my mind or anybody else's. However, there is a question still unresolved as to whether or not Blount County has responsibility for these through roads, regardless of the fact they pass through the municipal limits based on some laws that are currently on Alabama's books. That's what I'm asking you to research. I've not seen the map that y'all are referring to. I can tell you, based on just conversation I'm hearing in here tonight, that on Deans Ferry Road, well, I can tell you that my property pin is where the town limits pick up and start from Blount County. It's not been marked in the road by former folks who worked for Blount County. They show that mark back toward the intersection of County Line, 500 feet from my property line, which is inaccurate. And that part you could prove or disprove from those records. But again, we're not resolved whether or not you have responsibility as a county commissioner for these through roads or roads that go from one community to another through the municipality that were annexed or incorporated prior to 1995, and what year they were annexed. There are laws, other laws that apply to those as well. So I think that merits some research on your part. That's, your legal team could tell you that quickly, okay?
I'm not really concerned about the 500 foot on Dean's Ferry.
I am.
Well, I mean, as long as it gets paved or repaired,
fixed,
what
yeah.
difference does it make who's paid for it, whether it's them or us? You know, if that changes the line that goes down Cobb Brazil Road, then there's
changes there.
changes on that, then that's a big cost difference. But the potholing or a little bit of road there on Dean's Ferry, I wouldn't argue over that, but if it does change it on Dean's Ferry, then that's a different issue.
You've missed one more time. Let me try to restate this.
I understand.
It
what
is
you're
important
saying.
that Blount County understands and can tell the town of County Line in writing and citing the law and what book it came out of in case law, why Blount County is not responsible for all of Dean's Ferry and all of Cobb Brazil based on current Alabama law, and prior to 1995 annexations or incorporations.
Okay.
That's something that needs to be addressed first.
Yeah, I think that's the whole sticking point in the process. If that were already resolved, I think we'd be moving forward with the whole process of getting things done. But
And like
we
I
just,
said-
we don't know exactly, I'm clueless as to how to get the answer to that. You know, I mean, that's something I'm gonna have to depend on y'all on to
Well,
come up with
again,
that.
I think that's something that Commissioner and I and probably Judge Green
Judge Green,
need to sit down and start discussing,
And
those
y'all
steps.
agree to do that by our next,
Yeah.
council meeting.
Yes.
You know,
I think
I
that's-
think that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable.
We'll try to resolve that by then, you know, if possible.
Okay.
Cause I'm gonna have to get our legal department involved,
I
along with
understand
our
how it
engineering
works.
department, but we'll try to come up with something by then.
And the county engineer is sitting,
Sit- Winston sit.
Winston sitting.
He would be good to bring to the next meeting to answer some questions. Get
You wrote
Bring 'em
program.
all.
Really sincerely.
Okay. Let's see if we can wrap this up. I know it's been another late night. Just a second, that Commissioner, yes, sir.
I agree with everything that he's saying. I agree we need to just, the main thing, just determine where the lines are and who's responsible for what, then we can go from there. That's,
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you.
I agree, thank you. All right. We'll see if we can get some resolution on that in the next couple of weeks, but just let me know when would be a good time, and I will make sure that I'm available
okay.
to do that.
All right,
So,
I hereby make a motion that we now absolve this meeting.
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll second that.